In the decrepit corners of a bar that had long lost its former glory, I stood, a mere specter amidst the grumbles and musings of the run-down clientele that frequented the place. In their shabby garments, with their forlorn faces drowned in a habitual lethargy, they became part of the furniture, nearly inseparable from the weary, stained wood that adorned the bar. I, their reluctant sentinel, had grown numb to the ceaseless drone of their grievances. Even the most trivial of issues found a willing stage in this forsaken place where time seemed to be stuck in a never-ending loop. Day in and day out, I catered to their pitiful whims, my existence reduced to the monotonous cycle of wiping down the bar and pouring drink after dreary drink. For a stretch of years that seemed like an endless void, the bar had been my refuge, my purgatory, where plans and dreams had no room to breathe. I had accepted this grim fate, marred by a past that clung to me like an unshakable shadow. Once a soldier, my career had been untimely cut short by a disastrous mission, a mission that saw me fall from grace, branded with the mark of dishonor and burdened with the weight of lives lost. A twisted narrative that had been far from the truth, but I had been too weary to fight, surrendering to the cruel hands of fate. But that dreary cycle was about to be disrupted. The first hint of change came with the entrance of 3 men, their disciplined stature and coordinated haircuts betraying their military background. Their presence stirred the dormant fire in me, evoking memories of a time when I wore my uniform with pride, a time before the dark cloud of disgrace enveloped me. The leader, a man with years etched into his buzzed hair, wasted no time in getting to the point, requesting a private audience in the kitchen, a dismal place where mold played host to a grotesque display of decay. As they encircled me in that confined space, a rush of anxiety clawed at my composure, the sensation of being trapped igniting a spark of rebellion in my spirit. Before I could entertain the thought of declining, the leader unveiled their true intentions, a mission that beckoned me back to a world I had forsaken. A scoff escaped me at the ludicrous proposition, but the determination in his eyes hinted at a depth of knowledge that unsettled me. He laid bare my military history, touching upon the achievements that had once defined me and pointing at the falsehoods that had been crafted to paint me as the scapegoat. An outburst of anger threatened to consume me, my mind a whirlpool of agony and injustice that had lain dormant, festering in the recesses of my soul. But as quickly as the rage surfaced, he managed to quell the storm with promises of vindication, of wiping the slate clean and granting me the opportunity for redemption. As I grappled with the swirling torrent of emotions, the seed of desperation found fertile ground in my battered soul. Despite my reservations, the chance to reclaim my honor, to right the wrongs that had been inflicted upon me and my fallen comrades, beckoned me with an irresistible allure. In a whirlwind of decisions forged in the fires of determination, I found myself journeying towards the icy expanses of northern Alaska, chasing tales that had danced in hushed whispers amongst the soldiers who sought solace in camaraderie and alcohol. The destination was a place shrouded in mystery, a setting for a classified event that had birthed countless rumors that were about to be unraveled by a man on the precipice of reclaiming his lost dignity. In a hushed tone, buried beneath layers of secrecy, and whispered amongst the soldiers with hushed reverence. It was known as Incident Zero, a cataclysmic event that had unfolded nearly a decade ago in a remote, scarcely populated region where fate had played a cruel joke. An army transporter, laden with secrets from a secluded research facility, had taken an unscheduled detour through the only town for thousands of miles in an impromptu quest for a humble meal. But destiny had other plans. A reckless drunk driver, hurtling through the main artery of the quiet town, met an untimely end as he collided with the transporter. The consequential chaos unleashed a dormant threat that had lurked within the confines of the vehicle, a nefarious gas that now painted the town with an invisible brush of death and madness. Despite their impromptu stop for mundane comforts, the soldiers never reached the diner they had eyed. The truck careened off the road, releasing its perilous cargo into the unsuspecting surroundings. By the time the army managed to respond to the disaster, more than 18 hours had passed, allowing the malevolent forces to seep into every crevice and corner of the forsaken place. Those who first arrived described a vision that resembled the very bowels of hell, a place forever altered, ensnared by the throes of an unseen menace. As I perused the folder handed over by the leader, a familiar thrill surged within me, a sensation I hadn't experienced since my last deployment. The details of the mission resonated with a part of me that had lain dormant, a part that yearned for purpose, for redemption. My task was clear, albeit steeped in danger and uncertainty. The haunting landscape of the incident was calling me back into action, igniting a spark that I thought had been extinguished long ago. The centerpiece of my mission was the young woman smiling mischievously from the photograph nestled within the file. A young lady who harbored the recklessness of youth, adorned with golden locks that framed vivacious blue eyes that seemed to challenge the world. She was no ordinary woman, but the offspring of a distinguished general, a rebellious spirit with a penchant for trouble that had now seen her venture too far into the darkness. With the vigor of someone determined to expose the truth buried in the annals of classified files, she had journeyed to the epicenter of the disaster, armed with a camera and an unyielding resolve to reveal the hidden horrors to the world. Yet her fervent quest had seen her vanish, her signal lost amidst the silence that now enveloped the cursed place. My mission was clear: to retrieve her from the grasp of the malevolent forces that lurked within the town's confines, erasing any trace of the evidence she had gathered before returning her to the fold of her father's stern embrace. The higher-ups demanded her safe return, perhaps fearing the repercussions of a familial bond strained beyond its limits. With a sigh of resolve, I gazed upon the imposing barrier that now encased the town, a grim testament to the efforts to contain the darkness that had blossomed there a decade ago. Despite its foreboding presence, it had failed to deter the general's determined offspring from infiltrating its boundaries. As the helicopter whisked me closer to the forsaken ground, a crackling voice in my headset revealed the true purpose of the wall: not to keep intruders out, but to imprison the malevolent entities that now ruled this desolate land. My heartbeat echoed ominously in my ears as the landscape unfolded before me, a tableau of decay and abandonment that bore the scars of the tragic events from 10 years prior. A grim welcome awaited as I disembarked, stepping into a world where time seemed to have ceased its forward march. Amidst the wreckage of forsaken cars and dilapidated buildings, I initiated my solitary quest, armed with resolve and the bitter taste of vengeance lingering in my mouth. As I maneuvered through the debris, a disconcerting scene caught my attention. A seemingly abandoned truck held dark secrets within its confines. A glimpse inside revealed the remnants of a tragic fate, with skeletal remains and stains that bore witness to a horrifying end. As I ventured further, the eerie sound of a door creaking in the wind beckoned me towards a forsaken bar, its entrance gaping open like a mouth ready to swallow me whole, drawing me deeper into the mysteries that lay within this desolated town. A lone advertisement struggled to hold onto the broken pane of the bar's window, a silent testament to more carefree times where the allure of half-priced drinks on Sundays beckoned locals. Now, it stood as an eerie juxtaposition to the macabre display of dried blood smeared on the inner glass surface. The biting cold wind animated the swinging door in an unsettling dance, yet despite the chilling air, beads of sweat formed an uncomfortable layer between my shirt and my back and slickened my palms that clenched the gun tightly. Attempting to maintain a semblance of control, I reassured myself that I was a seasoned operative, well acquainted with extracting individuals from dire situations, a master in navigating through peril, yet nothing could have prepared me for the grim tableau that stretched out before me. Venturing forth through the lifeless street, where traffic signals had given their last glow long ago, I encountered the rusting corpses of once sturdy four-wheel drives, symbols of a life that had once thrived here. A silent testament to the rugged individuals that had chosen this remote a life, now seemingly crashed into one another in a frantic escape, leaving behind flasks on passenger seats and a child's backpack, evoking images of a life halted abruptly. Each step became a battle against the nausea and the tremors that threatened to overtake me. a physical reaction to the harrowing tales that had been relayed by soldiers, narratives that paled in comparison to the gruesome reality. I navigated this silent world with heightened vigilance, aware that the only sounds accompanying me were the relentless door banging and the symphony of my own elevated heartbeat and strained breaths. In the midst of this chaotic silence, I clung to my objective: locate the general's daughter who had ventured to the diner at the center of this tragedy. Using the map that had been enclosed within the folder, I had plotted a route to my destination, attempting to silence the frantic tempo of my heartbeat that urged me to flee. As I hastened my pace, eager to escape the main street, I encountered the grotesque remnants of what had once been a resident of the town. The initial misconception of a pile of rags quickly gave way to a horrid realization as the heap began to move, revealing bones adorned with lingering flesh, a grotesque puppet animated by a force unknown. The vacant sockets where eyes once resided bore into me, unveiling a terrifying figure that once possessed vitality and life. The tattered remnants of humanity, marred by decay, advanced with an unnerving determination, leaving me with scant seconds to react to this unforeseen obstacle. Through frantic recollections of soldiers' accounts, I recalled the discovery that a precise shot to the head would halt these monstrous beings. Yet, as I examined this horrifying creature more closely, the absence of a brain presented a daunting dilemma. Time was a luxury I couldn't afford as it continued its relentless approach. With no other option, I opened fire, the bullets tearing through fragile bones and remnants of flesh, reducing the entity to a twitching heap of what was once a person. As it lay in fragments, still attempting to reach me, I couldn't shake the gnawing fear of encountering more of these ghastly beings, the grim residue of a town that succumbed to chaos in the wake of the incident. The gas released from the crash had initiated a horrifying transformation, turning almost the entire population into grotesque parodies of their former selves. Even the drunk driver who had instigated this catastrophe hadn't been spared, becoming the first of many to be transformed into a nightmarish being, his nearly decapitated head a gruesome indication of his fate. As I recalled the horrific image of the driver's first victim, a soldier mercilessly attacked during the initial outbreak, an overwhelming sensation of dread enveloped me. The grim reality of my mission became glaringly apparent as I ventured deeper into the forsaken town, bracing myself for the horrors that awaited. Minutes later, the grim narrative had unfolded further, with the newly deceased claiming ownership over the town by the time dusk settled in. My knowledge of this grim timeline was courtesy of a singular teenage boy who witnessed the genesis of this hell from his hideout beneath the chapel's porch. His testimony, recorded in harrowing interviews housed within the folder, revealed a chilling account that now haunted my steps. The urgency clawed at me, beckoning me to move faster, lest I meet a fate akin to the poor young witness. The grim panorama of the crash site appeared, where the transporter had met its end at the diner's facade, the cab grotesquely twisted into its interiors. As I scanned the vicinity, no sign of the general's daughter was visible. Opting to investigate the diner first, I maneuvered over the transporter's remains to enter. Inside, the scene bore the remnants of chaos, with broken furniture strewn about, save for a singular booth that harbored a dead man adorned with a baseball cap and large black-framed glasses. A horrific tableau unfolded as the creature rose, its decayed form startlingly agile, moving towards me with an eerie moan. Unwilling to become its meal, I defended myself, leaving the entity collapsed on the linoleum floor. Yet my relief was fleeting, as more of them emerged from the kitchen, a grotesque assembly that included both men, women, and even a once majestic dog, now reduced to a hideous caricature of its former self. My instincts screamed a primal warning. My only focus was self-preservation as I fired at the advancing horde, a symphony of gunfire ringing in my ears. Moving swiftly, I ventured into the seemingly deserted kitchen, a nagging sense of unease suggesting I wasn't alone. In the impending confrontation, I was prepared for the worst as I opened the freezer, revealing the general's daughter in a state of heightened distress. I eased her out, her grip on her mobile phone a testament to her hope and determination. With gentle firmness, I removed the SIM card, ensuring our trail remained untraceable, a necessary action despite her protests. As we readied to leave, her conviction in revealing the dark secrets of the incident ignited a spark within me, challenging my allegiance to the forces that had consumed years of my life. This newfound determination fueled our escape, her understanding smile affirming my choice. With her guidance and the aid of climbing gear, we embarked on a treacherous journey, ready to face miles of wilderness and the relentless pursuit of the army. Yet, our plight took a tragic turn as her strength waned, her collapsing form revealing the grisly bite wound that sealed her fate. In this heartbreaking moment, we shared an understanding, an acceptance of the inevitable tragedy that loomed. As I cradled her weakening form, her pleading eyes met mine, urging me to grant her a merciful end. With a heavy heart I complied, the gunshot echoing a somber farewell. In the aftermath, I bore her lifeless body beyond the perimeter wall, an act of defiance against the darkness that sought to claim her even in death. For hours I traversed the wilderness, her body a solemn burden as I sought a final resting place amidst the serenity of nature. In a clearing kissed by sunlight, I laid her to rest, a silent farewell accompanied by the gentle caress of sunbeams filtering through the branches, a peaceful antithesis to the hell we had left behind. As I bid her goodbye, the quietude embraced us, a somber melody resonating in the tranquil surroundings, a final tribute to a journey marked by darkness and fleeting rays of hope.